Hello.
Buenas noches, ¿qué tal está?
Bien, ¿dónde está en el basement?
No, en mi
Porque
oficina.
se le ve nada más que la cabeza.
Ah, mi señora movió la cámara.
Oh, ok.
Ahí me puedes ver en toda mi gloria.
Ya sé. Otra vez los fuegos, es increíble.
Terrible. Yo vivo aquí en North Beverly Hills. Y te tengo que ser honesto, iba a hacer ejercicios, pero cuando iba a salir a las 3, todo el noroeste estaba café, café, café. Dije,
Mm,
no, mejor me quedo en casita.
sí,
No me voy a poner a hacer actividades, no quiero empezar a toser como loco.
sí. No, pero esto es lejos, es en Castaic.
Sí, pero de todas formas teníamos una franja café como cubriendo todo el cielo.
Mm, wow.
Mira, se les aceleró, se fue de 50 acres a 5,000 en 2 horas.
En 10.000 está ahora.
Okay,
Mm,
we're on
Está,
Lamed Vav
wow.
36. We said, Ma Yontiv Shenit Chebet Korban Yachid. Now, Yontiv, we also we bring Korbanos at Yontiv, on Yontiv. So Korban, and this is according to the opinion that even private individuals who are donating a Korban, not just a Korban Tzibur, can bring it on Yontif. Now that's a machlokas, but according to the opinion that somebody could bring a korban Yontif on Yontif, so it's doicha Yontif. Yet, ein ritzicha doicha isa, we proved that there's no difference between Shabbos and Yontif, and we would not take somebody and kill him on Shabbos or Yontif. Korban Yachid shu doiches Yontif. A korban Yachid that is doicha Yontif, enudin shalote ritzicha doicha isa. So you should be able to somebody who's offering that korban, take him and put him to death. Hanich lamandamar in the door is craving beyontiv. That only works according to the mandamar that says you can't offer donative offerings on yontiv. El mandamar in the door is craving beyontiv. Michael Amemer, you end up with this kasha. El amarav el amaboy lemandamar in the door is craving beyontiv. It doesn't apply to that person. The halam is kaim im is bichiklal. There are no taking somebody from the mizbech to put him to death as a rotzech is not going to work because it's not. You don't bring a korban sibri and don't bring a korban yachid. You can't if it's not related to either of those. You cannot. The pasuk would have no applicable content. Even according to those opinions that hold that a private person cannot bring a korban on yontif, haksiv me'im mizbechi, mizbechi hamiyuchad li. Kodesh Baruch Hu is saying my mizbech, my ninu korban atomid. We're talking about the daily korban that was brought, and even so, you take him off of that mizbech and you take him out and put him to death. I was in the yeshiva of Rebbe. When they started asking questions about din and nefashos, they started from me, and I was the youngest. We said that you start from the Av Bezdin, the oldest person. That's Maschil not Gadol Tnan, and there was no argument that in time of Rebbe he was the Gadol, and they didn't do din in the Foshres. So you're talking about Dine Mominus. Rav Vols, Shiny Minyana the Bay Rebbe, the Kula Minyanim in Atzad of Maschil. Rebbe was so dominant that Rebbe never started any discussion because everybody would have been machmir to Rebbe. So it always flows from the youngest person. Vam Rav Rav Vitema, Rav Hillel Rav Vols, Shiny Mimos, Shiny because we Moshe Vad Rebbe lo matzot Torah ugdul b'makom echad. For Moshe Rabbeinu until Rebbe, there was nobody who was the Torah giant and wealthy in the same person. What about Yoshua? So Gemara says Avi Elazar. He was as big in Torah as Yoshua. So he wasn't the only person. Vava Pinchas. In the next generation, there was Pinchas. Havu Zakanim, that after the Yoshua died, there was Zakanim who were as great in Torah as Pinchas. Shaul HaMelech was Gadol b'Torah v'Minyan and the Osher. Havu Shmuel, but Shmuel in his generation was the Gadol Ador in Torah. But V'hanach Nafshe, Shmuel died while Shaul was alive. So we're talking about Kula Shani coming in. We're talking about there was no person while his whole life where he was greater in Torah and Gedula their whole lives. David. What about David HaMelech? So the Gemara says, Havi Ira HaYa'iri. Ira HaYa'iri was David HaMelech's Rebbe. I V'hanach Nafshe. Ira HaYa'iri died in the time of David HaMelech. Kula Shani coming in. So we're talking about there was no one who was throughout his life the greatest in Torah and Gedula. V'havi Shlomo HaMelech. Havi Shimi ben Gera. Shimi ben Gera, the one who Shlomo HaMelech ended up killing, because David HaMelech told him to get rid of him, because he had cursed him. But Shimi ben Gera was greater, he was the Gadol Ador in Torah. I v'hakatle, but at the time that he killed him, Shlomo was left by himself. So Kula Shani coming, we're talking about that Rebbe and Moshe Rabbeinu, their whole life, they were the greatest in Torah and Gedul. Havi Chizkiah. What about Chizkiah Melech? Havi Shevna. Shevna was also Gadol b'Torah. Vaha Iktil. Shevna was killed. Kula Shani Kamrina. Again, we're talking about somebody who was greatest in Torah and Gedul their whole life. What about Havi Ezra Asoifer? Havi Nechemi ben Chachalya, who was great as him in Gedula. So until Rebbe, we've proven until Rebbe, there was nobody like Moshe Rabbeinu. Amravada Barava Afani Oimer. B'Moshe Rebbe had Rav Ashi. Lo Matzinu Torah Gedula b'Makom Echad. And then from Rebbe to Rav Ashi, nobody was like them. Frankly, more of a love. Huna Bar Nosson. Huna Bar Nosson make of Avakayf Leila Rav Ashi. Rav Huna was greater, was subservient to Rav Ashi regarding Torah. Then we learn Dina Nefashos Matchila Ben Atzad. We start from the youngest Dayan to begin discussing a murder case. Menad Amili, Amra Vacha Brapapa Amra Kro. Velo Sa'aneh Al Riv, and we dashkin Lo Sa'aneh Al Rav. Don't argue with the Gadol Shabadayonim. If he's going to start, you can't argue with him. So therefore, the pasuk says, don't start with the Gadol. Rav Baravuna Amar Rav Yochanan Mehacha, a different source. Vayomer David la Nashav, Chigru ish es charbo v'yachkru ish es charbo. David told his people to put on their sword. Vayachkor gan David es charbo. This is when they were going to decide what the punishment for Navala Carmelite was going to be. And David was the last. So by Din and Nefoshos, he goes last. Amar Rav Shoyna Adam Talmidoi. V'dani mo b'din and Nefoshos. A rabbi can teach his Talmud, whatever Mesoris he got from his Rebbeim, and that Talmud can sit on the bezdin with him in Din and Nefoshos. Meisvei. Dine ataharos vatmeos. Ha'avu b'no v'arav v'talmidu moni lem shnayim. By taharis v'tmeos, the father and a son, or a rav and a talmid, can sit as two dayan. Dine mamanos v'dine nefoshos v'dine makois. Money cases, capital crimes, malchus, kiddush achodesh v'ibur shana, avu b'no ha'rav v'talmidu ein moni lem elechad. They only count as one day. They can only be considered one. So how could Rav say that you can adjudicate father and son, or Talmud and Rebbe? Ki kamarav Kigon Rav Kana Ravasi. The ligmre the Rav avutzrichi v'lizbur the Rav lo avutzrichi. They needed the Masorah of Rav, but the Svaras of Rav they didn't need. He received from his Rebbeim certain things that they didn't know. Once Rav gave it to Rav Kana Ravasi, they could figure it out by themselves. Amar Vavo. Asar dvarim yesh bein dinei mamanos u'dinei nefashos. We said in the beginning of the Mishnah there were 10 distinctions between adjudicating capital crimes from money crimes. Kulon eino agin b'shor nisko. All these chumras don't exist by the ox that has to be stoned. Chutz b'eser mishloisha, except for the fact that instead of a bezdin of 3, you need 23. Menanimili. How do you know this? Amar Ravacha bar Papa d'Amar Kra, lo satem mishpat evyoncha b'rivo. Mishpat evyoncha iyatamata. By a person, you have to come up with all the zechuyos to help him. Avalatamata mishpat shosha nisko. You don't have to go through all the various reasons to be lenient by a shore. So why did you say that there are asora 10 distinctions? Hatishav, there's only 9. Freit Gemara, what do you mean? Ha'asar it says 10. So when it says Eina kol ksherim, we said not everybody is kosher to do din and foshes, and we said esrim b'shloisha, and you need 23, so that's one. It's considered one item. I ha'ike achrisi. There's other differentiations. We say ein moishivin b'Sanhedrin zakein. Somebody who's very old is not allowed to be a daim. Somebody who's had a castration. Mishein labonim. Someone who has no children. They don't know about Tsar Gidul Bonim, so they're machmir too much. And Rav Yehuda Moisef is achzor, somebody who's known to be cruel. So you don't put him on a bezdin. But v'chilufei and b'mesis, somebody who's seducing other Jews to do averos, you're allowed to have cruel people. The Rachman Omar, the Torah clearly says, v'lo sachmo v'lo sachas alav. Don't have pity on him. Then we said, hakol ksher lodun dinei momentos. Everybody is kosher to adjudicate money crimes. What is the hakol lasui ma? What does it come to include? Rav Yehuda lasui mamzer. Then even a mamzer can. We learned this already. Whoever is capable of adjudicating capital crimes, roy lodun dinei manas. V'yesh roy lodun dinei manas ve'ein roy lodun dinei nefashos. There is a person who is roy to do dinei manas, but not dinei nefashos. Ve'avinam bo. And we said lasuyima. Who does that come to bring? All right, lasuyim mamzer. So chada comes to say lasui ger. The chada lasui mamzer. One says that says to exclude a mamzer. One says to exclude a ger. No, a mamzer is kosher for that one, and a ger is kosher for moment. The chada lasui mamzer utzricha. Why do I need both? Yashmin and ger. A ger is like a regular Yisrael. So roy lova bakol. Of a mamzer that can't get married, emelo. So I would say no. We say yes, he can. And yashmin a mamzer shabam etipa kshera. He's at least Jewish. Of a ger de lobam etipa kshera. He originally came from a non-Jewish seed, maybe emelo. So tzricha, we needed to be told in both cases. Then it says, not everybody can adjudicate capital crimes. My taima. Kishem shebezdin tzrichim lios menukim b'tzedek. Just like bezdin has to be free of any pagam, and menukim mikol mum, they can't have any blemish. Amar Ameim and Mikra, kulach yafar yasiu mum empach. The din is you're not allowed to have a physical mum. That's why Rav Moshe, when he was having a pacemaker, he was clearing, is that considered a mum or not? Because he said, as an onav, he said, well, maybe they'll ask me to be there on the Sanhedrin. He wanted to make sure he doesn't have a mum. I v'dilma lemum mamish. Maybe it means not just a mum physical mum, but maybe just a yichus mum. Amar Vacha Bar Yaakov Amar Kra. V'yisetzvu shami mach b'doimim lecha. That when he gathered the 70 people, it has to be similar to Moshe. Moshe came from a miyuchastika family, so did they. I v'dil ma'asa mishum shchina. Just like this. Susie, you gotta. Okay. 1 second. They have to be like you in every way, not just with the Shechina, but with no more. I'm going to have to stop here. We'll learn tomorrow night at 7 o'clock. Tomorrow night we'll learn at 6 o'clock.
At 6? Okay.
6 o'clock tomorrow.
Okay. All right. So, yeah.